Welcome to Recovering with Becca, an old school drinker who woke up in her 50s only to discover there is life after the bottle. I'm your host, Becca Jacobson, and this is one girl's opinion on why we should get sober and how to do it. I offer short, daily inspirations for 45-plus professional women who are searching for a solution to uncontrolled drinking. If you're undecided, I'm here to convince you to take the leap, and I'm here to help you along the way. Listen, gals, we've wasted enough time, so join me and my group of amazing women on the thrilling road to recovery. Hi, gals. Welcome back. Welcome aboard. Thanks for joining me. I have a quote for you. Well, little background. Right now I'm reading a book by a woman I had never heard of until recently, named Elsie Lincoln Benedict. This woman was an early 20th century, like 1920s in there, personal development guru. Of course, she didn't call herself that because the concept didn't exist. But no kidding. She wrote books and she traveled around the United States speaking to auditoriums full of people, mainly women, amazing, and helping them to get, where they want to go in life, a personal development guru. The book I'm reading is called How to Get Anything You Want. The concepts in there, after you read enough books like this, the concepts after a while are kind of all the same because it's not complicated. It's not rocket science. One of the things we know and we learned, especially in the early 20th century, now we know it even more, is that the way our lives manifest it is filtered through and driven by our subconscious. It just is a fact. Well, listen, I want to share this one quote with you. We can talk more about that another time. This quote is, "If you keep picturing the gap instead of the bridge, you won't be able to bridge the gap." Let's do that one more time. This is Elsie Lincoln Benedict. If you keep picturing the gap instead of the bridge, you won't be able to bridge the gap. That really jumped out at me in the middle of this audiobook I'm listening to. So I stopped it, wrote it down. That's one of the problems with audiobooks, isn't it? Normally, I would get out my highlighter and write notes in the margin of a book at a point like that. But in an audiobook, you got to stop and you got to grab your pen. Anyway, I really wanted to share this with you because, it's a concept we hear in many different places. I've talked about it before, but what is she saying? If you keep picturing the gap instead of the bridge, you won't be able to bridge the gap. So in other words, what does it mean? We focus on what we don't have. We focus on what we don't have. We do. We walk around, if only I didn't have this, or if only it wasn't like that, if only. And not only do we picture what we don't have right now, but we picture the negative things from the past. If only I hadn't done that, or if only this wasn't happening. And we focus on the negative. It's just like it's our default. It's the way we're so used to doing things, the mind goes there automatically. So to turn around and focus on the bridge, the thing that we want to put into that gap, the thing we want that would make the whatever's wrong better, if we focus on that, our subconscious starts to manifest it. Well, what do I mean by manifest? It's simple. It just helps us find opportunities to get what we want. It's not complicated. It's not woo-woo. It's not the universe coming. It's the way our minds work. So I really, really wanted, I talk about this a lot with the women in my world. This week, today is actually day 5 of a live event I've been doing this week, and I'll be meeting with the gals this evening for the last day, and I'll be doing more. But this was part of the 5-day solution that I've been presenting to them. Focus on what you want. Focus on the solution. Imagine, on day 1, I said to them, what do you want? I want you to write it down. Grab your journal. I want you to write down clearly your life the way you want it to be, your alcohol-free life. If that's the life you want, what does it look like? For most of us, it's way more than just giving up alcohol. Although, to be honest, that could be, if if it's really a struggle in your life and it's really wreaking a whole bunch of havoc, that might be all you're thinking is just like, look, all I know is I don't want to drink anymore because look what, it's just making me miserable. And in fact, to be honest, that's where I was in 2018. I was just, I couldn't even think beyond just get this alcohol out of my life. The thought of doing all sorts of other things and growing and changing careers and all of that was just, I didn't have the energy to think of any of that. All I could think was, please, please, God, help me to stop drinking. And so I get that if that's where you're at, but that vision alone needs to be visualized. That idea, that desire alone needs to be visualized, needs to be written down, needs to be focused on. Instead of focusing on the gap, in other words, the fact that you drink when you don't want to, the fact that you drank last night and you didn't want to, or the fact that you're afraid you'll drink next weekend and you don't want to, or whatever it is, thinking about the negative, that's the gap. That's you focusing on the gap. And all that's going to do is make it happen again and again, right? Instead, really want you to sit down and write down what you do want. Let's focus on the bridge and not the gap. And if it's just getting alcohol, that's a beautiful vision. That's a beautiful goal. That's what it's all about, right? Once you get that, then you can think of other things. And you will, by the way. This is the exciting thing about going alcohol-free. Once you give yourself a few weeks, a little bit of time without alcohol, you feel good. And you think, hey, I want to do something else with my life. What else can I do? And that is what I help women with. We start with the alcohol. All right, now you've got some time without alcohol. Now what do you? And we start growing and learning together and accomplishing amazing goals. And that's why I talk a lot about here on my podcast. I talk about surface dwellers, and because I don't, if you're living on the surface of life right now, meaning you're not going deep in your goals, you're not, you get a little bit of inspiration from a meme you might see, but you never really do anything with it. It's just sort of surface of life living, surface dwelling, I call it. If you're there, that's okay, but I hope you're not comfortable there. When I say no surface dwellers allowed, that's what I mean. All I mean is not that you might be there, but that hopefully you don't want to stay there. I want you to be uncomfortable there so that you'll move out of that area of your life. Like you'll move out of that and into something deeper. So if your life is surface thoughts, if it's just, oh, I listened to a 12-minute podcast of Becca, it was great, and then just carry on with your life, that's surface dwelling. No surface dwelling. So if you're doing that, recognize it and make a decision. I don't want to live on the surface. I want more. I want to actually make some changes in my life. Then turn off when I'm done here, and I'll be done in a minute. Stop. Grab a pen and focus. What is the bridge that you want? Not the gap, the bridge. What is the life that you want? Write it down. Come back. Listen to another one. Think about what I'm saying. Take action. That's what I'm saying. Be an action taker, not just a surface dweller. And focus on the bridge instead of the gap. So, one more time from Elsie Lincoln Benedict. This is a gift from my business coach. I'm so grateful that I got it from them. And the book is a gift. And the quote, my dears, is, if you keep picturing the gap instead of the bridge, you won't be able to bridge the gap. Sending you tons of love and tons of energy towards bridging your own gap. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me. If you know someone in need of inspiration, don't forget to share and make sure you're following and subscribed so that we can get together every day for short inspirations. Let's make this happen. Bye for now.